Who doesn't love supply chain and logistics videos? They are by far the top content on YouTube. So in X4, there's kind of two thoughts when building stations. One is like a mega super self-sustaining station. The other is to have several smaller stations. We're going to talk about how to deal with the latter situation in this video. So as you can see here, I have a graphene plant, I have a refined metal plant, and I have a whole parts factory. These are the two main, the graphene and refined metals are the two main ingredients to make hull parts for the argon and everybody but the Talati. Talati have a little different thing going on. So the question is, how do we make these two factories supply our hull part factory? We can go about this in two ways. The first way will be with no mods. The second way will be with a mod. So let's get into the first way. Basically, one of the first things we need to do is gain control over what we're doing with the materials. So graphene, we want to restrict trade with other factions. We want to change the selling price to as low as possible. We're going to want to do the same with the refined metals plant. So we go logical overview, refined metals, restrict trade, turn off automatic selling, turn the price as low as possible. Now, this is all kind of anecdotal, the pricing. It's hard to prove, but we're going to be leveraging our traders that are out there to do this. So I think without a mod, they still take pricing into account. So that's why we're kind of lowering the prices. So to try to make this the most ideal place for them to get the materials. So the graphene plant and the refined metals plant will no longer sell to other factions. Now let's go to the hull part plant. We do not want to buy from other factions either. So, and we'll also change the price, the buy price, to as high as possible. So, we've restricted trade, great. Oops, forgot the other one. So, logical overview. Refined metals, restrict trade, pricing, keep it high. We're good there. Energy cells are fine. The next thing we need to do, you still need to give the station money. It's very important. So it's requesting 956K. We'll just give it a bunch. All right. So we have these restricted, so this station won't buy from anybody else, and our raw material stations won't sell to anybody else. Next step, traders. You got to make sure that there are traders assigned. Okay, so we have two Mercury Vanguards that just happen to be not doing anything. We're going to assign them to our raw material factories to do trading. So that means that you just right-click on here and do Trading For, and then choose the second one, and then the refined metals plant, right-click on there, Trading For. So, with the trade restriction in place, they should they should take up their the extras, and the only place they should be able to trade them is to the hull part factory. So let's see what our Mercuries are doing. We actually can take, you can remember, you can always see trades with the logical overview and graphene. So now look, we have the Hermes. These are both our ships. Hermes Sentinel and the Mercury Vanguard are bringing in graphene. No one has picked up the refined metals yet, but they are starting to deliver on the graphene. So this is kind of one way to do it. The problem is, and I don't know if we'll see it right now, but it is possible that if you have universal traders out there, those are ones that are just trading for you, like without any kind of parameters other than to go trade and trade these goods. They may go on their own, go get items from other stations. It's hard to really control them since they're not working for any particular station. So there is not too much control in vanilla to kind of force this. You can start to get into more control if you want to start only having these traders deal with certain wares, blacklisting certain sectors, and really restricting them. But there's always that kind of lack of control that you're going to find. But it is possible without a mod to go with a distributed station setup and have your ships supply your factories. And, that's important if you want to keep a vanilla game and you don't want to get that modified tag. This may be kind of the way you have to do it. It's not ideal, and it kind of lends itself to you making bigger stations instead of many small ones, just because a bigger station you can more easily manage the supply chain and logistics. So that is about it for this piece. Let's go to method number 2, using a mod. All right, so we are now talking about the second way. This is using a mod. One of the best mods I found, called StationMule. It's version 4.0. I'll include a link to it in the description. Basically, this mod, it doesn't cheat at all. It just gives much more control over supply chain and logistics when running your empire. So there's actually multiple types of mules, but we're going to mainly talk about StationMule, where we can set it specifically to deal with the situation of wanting to send materials from the graphene plant and refined metals plant to the hull part factory. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we have a Mercury Vanguard here. If we look at the default behavior, now that the mod is installed, we have 3 new tasks here: StationMule, DistriMule, and TravelMule. We're only interested in StationMule right now, so we'll go ahead and choose that. And so here's where things get really interesting. You can select the source station, graphene plant, select the target station, the hull parts factory, select, and then some options. So if we do assign ship to the source, it means it'll get managed by this graphene plant. You can tell it things you want it to start training, but basically behind the scenes, it compares what hull part factory needs and what the graphene factory needs, and it has, and we'll just make sure that the hull part factory gets what it needs from the graphene plant. So if we built this hull part factory without energy cells, we could have had it we could include energy cells in that shipment. The same goes for food and medication. We also want to turn on low volumes, so it won't wait until an X percentage of goods are there. There's this whole concept of warehouses that we won't go into now. But first, let's go into our logical overview here. We still need to restrict trade with other factions for these goods. And also, you still need to give the station money. Okay, so now we can get the station mules going. So let's do that. We'll start with the graphene plant. Sorry, it's under information, default behavior, StationMule, source station, graphene plant. It's always just a right click on there. Destination, hull part factory. Good. We'll assign the ship to the graphene plant. And we want to allow low volumes. So confirmed. As you can see, undocking already. Great. Now we'll do the same for our second Mercury, but from the refined metals plant. All right, default behavior, StationMule, source is refined metals plant, destination, oh, no, not there, not that icon. I've lost the, there we go. Assign ship to source, allow low volumes. Confirm. All right, he's undocking. Now, let's go take a look at the hull part factory. And graphene is on the way. Refined metals, not yet. There's a little snag in our production line there, but if we go take a look at the graphene plant, subordinates, let's see, Mercury, that's a different Mercury, and I think this is the right one. Yeah, so he has a trade scheduled. Buy graphene from our graphene plant and sell graphene to the graphene plant. So, I mean, that's exact control that we want. It is instead of kind of just relying on our traders' logic and kind of pushing things into the way we want and hopefully they go. StationMule gives you kind of strict control over how the your traders will work. And then there's this concept of warehouses, which I'll have to do a whole other video about. But it is a fascinating mod. I really suggest you kind of check it out. And let's check out what that Mercury Vanguard, there's no raw materials for it to get, but it's still trading. So it basically, we asked it to move refined metals, but since there were none, it's smart enough to go help move graphene, since that is possible. So it just doesn't sit around idle. So it's moving the graphene from our plant to the hull part factory. So now we have an active supply chain, which is full control. If you are willing to use a mod, I highly suggest StationMule to do it. It makes things, if you like logistics, you're going to like it because you can do a lot of fun things with it. All right, so that is kind of a supply chain and logistics breakdown when using multiple factories in X4. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave a like or subscribe. Always appreciated. Have a great day.